Hello, and many thanks for joining us on this episode of the program. Heart to Heart is one program that allows you to share in the pains and joys of your favorite gospel creatives. It's always a privilege to be the one God is using to steer these conversations. And Mono, as usual, is here with me. Mono, how are you doing today?
I'm very well. And you?
Very well. And you know I will always ask, how are the boys?
The boys are doing well. And like you say, we're trying to keep each other happy.
Well, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it.
So every guest who shows up here has one story or the other to talk about his or her life's journey. Testimonies of those moments when they thought they had come to their end. But then we see God step in and change what seems to be a gloomy day to one filled with bright colors. When you hear their before and after, it gives you hope that you are not alone. And it's also a reassurance that God will come through for you no matter what.
Our guest today is a returning guest. When we say returning guest, she is coming on the show for the second time, but this time with a testimony of hope that will inspire us. Our Heart to Heart program today, we will see how God turned around what was meant to keep her down for good. Is it possible to find love again after loss? Find out on today's episode of the program.
Hello, mommies, aunties, ladies watching. Welcome to Living the Life.
Today is all about those tiny little humans we know.
And sometimes the questions are too much. I just feel like running somewhere, closing the door, just hiding myself there.
I run.
Sibling fighting, it's normal. However, if these siblings are not able to resolve this conflict or this disagreement amicably, it then generates to rivalry.
My guest today is Dorathy, a.k.a. She's a certified grief educator, legal and trauma-informed care strategist, author, and life re-entry coach. Dorathy is a multidisciplinary professional with a rare blend of legal acumen, trauma-informed care expertise, and transformational storytelling. With over 17 years of legal practice and a specialization in legislative drafting, she combines deep institutional insight with a human-centered approach to healing and advocacy. She's a certified grief educator by world-renowned expert David Kessler. Dorathy is also a trauma-informed practitioner, emotional intelligence facilitator, and mental health first aider with competencies in addiction, social psychiatry, and motivational interviewing. Through her works, she bridges the often overlooked space between law, loss, and lived experience. She's the author of the 5 deeply reflective works on grief and healing, including We Say Their Name, Pebbles on My Path, We Never Knew It Was the Last Time, Sit With It, which is a grief journal, and Yin Yang Grief Workbook. Dorathy champions dignified grief recovery, particularly amongst widows, solo parents, and young adults facing disenfranchised loss. Her mission is not just to help people survive trauma, but to re-enter life with purpose and courage. Today, welcome with me, Dorathy Diame, hearsay, now Dorathy Obafemi, or we call her Mrs. O. How are you doing, Mrs. O? I'm good by Mrs. O. I like Mrs. O.
Anyone, it's fine.
How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
It's good
I'm
to
well.
have you on the show again. The last time
It's good
was
to be
like
back.
4 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yes,
And
2022.
2020. Wow.
July.
Wow, you remember?
Yes.
I've had so many interviews that I've lost
I
count
know.
of when. Thank you for coming. Thank you for
Thank you
honoring
for
my
having me.
invitation. I know you've just become so busy for me to like grab, to hold down. The last time you were on the program, we talked about your book, We Say Their Name.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about how you talked about how you tragically lost your husband. You know, you came back home and you met him slumped in the bathroom, and how it was like your world just caved in at that time. But you've written so many books after We Say Their Name. You have they're so big. I have We Never Knew It Was the Last Time, a Sit With It Grief Journal, and this is so big. The Yin Yang. Yin Yang. Tell us about each of these books. What are they all about? Let's start with the Sit With It Grief Journal.
Okay. So the Sit With It Grief Journal came about from my experience with loss and grief. After Yakubu died, I think the following year, yes, that's 2019, I got gifts from 2 friends of journals, diaries where, and it was really helpful for me, especially on my healing journey, because I was able to write down my thoughts, my prayers, my cries to God, things that I just felt people would not understand. But I could write about it. And I would just pour out whatever I was experiencing per time. And then after some time, I looked back, and one of the things that came for me was it showed me how far I had come, how far God had carried me. And it also showed me how much of the healing work I had put in without even knowing that that was what I was doing. So I found out that actually journaling helped me a lot on my healing journey. Another thing that the journal did for me was because I became forgetful after I lost my husband. Like I would forget maybe someone calls me or an appointment. I used to brag that I had the memory of an elephant, and then I became forgetful. I would blank out completely and not remember. And then I'll even meet someone like, oh, you've not reached me. What happened? Are we quarreling? And like, I called you. Wow. I even visited. And honestly, I had no memory of that. But when I started keeping the journal, I would write things that when I look back, I'll be like, oh, this really happened. So for me, that was
journaling
inspired.
Helped you.
Yes, journaling helped me a lot.
So this is like for people who are either grieving or lost, they can write down their emotions, things happening to them.
Yes.
Okay, that's a very good. And then we move to, I want to take this one last. The Yin Yang, a grief workbook.
Okay, so a little background about the name, the Yin Yang. So my late husband used to call me the Yin to his Yang or the Yang to his Yin, anyone, and then Yin Yang is like a Chinese symbol where it just signifies opposites. Okay. It signifies life and death, light and darkness, just that life is not just one-dimensional. There's always the good and the bad, and everything, is captured in life. So basically, that's what the yin-yang symbol is about.
Then about the grief book?
Yes, so the grief workbook. So from that last time we met, I went on to get certified as a grief educator. Yes, educator and a therapist. So I've had cause to have therapy sessions with a lot of people going through trauma and grief. I became a trauma-informed
I watched
specialist
somewhere you were counseling, should I use the word counseling, a father who lost their 2-year-old?
Yes. Yes, in school.
Yes, so she drowned in
Yes, she drowned in the swimming pool in school, yes. So because of the feedback of, therapy is expensive, I can't afford it right now. So this workbook is a compilation of some of the processes that I use in therapy where, so as it's called, it's a workbook. That's why it's this big.
I remember workbook back then in secondary school or primary school.
Yeah. So this is a workbook. It's not something you just do in one day or even 1 month. It's, you take your time because there is a lot that goes into it. There is a lot that you need to process. You get to a point where you will stay there first. You will process a lot of things before you're able to move. And so I put together this workbook so that it will also encourage people that can't afford therapy for now, but can still find help and support. So that is the Yin Yang workbook, yes.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll continue about the Yin Yang and the other book that I want us to talk about. Please don't go away. We'll be right back.
God loves you. He has not forgotten you. He has not written you out. He's not done with you. There's still another chapter to be written.
You are watching 700 Club Nigeria.
Welcome back from the short break. I've been talking with Dorathy, a.k.a. Hearsay. You still find her that way on socials, but she's now Mrs. O. And we'll be talking about the different books she's written. We just talked about the Yin Yang Grief Workbook, and you said it's good for people who cannot afford therapy at the moment, but maybe later they can afford therapy, because I said therapy is quite expensive. Seeing a therapist is quite expensive. And we never knew it was the last time. 20 grief lessons I learned from the death of my husband. Tell me about this book.
So I think for this book, it speaks for itself. But this book was an inspiration from how Yakubu died, because he died suddenly. So there wasn't a prolonged illness, there wasn't, there wasn't any of that. It went from we were talking and then he was no more. And so there was a lot that came up for me. There was that guilt, there was the regret, there were so many what if questions, like what if I did not go out, what if I had stayed at home? And it took a while for me to come to the acceptance that some of these questions I will never get the answers on this side of life. And so, and then, like I said, as the years were going by and I got to speak with more people and work with more people, I realized that everybody's always like, oh, I wish I paid that visit. I wish I wrote that letter. I wish I made that call. I wish I, just did whatever it was that. So people get stuck in that guilt and regret, because they just felt like if I had done this, either it wouldn't have happened. Or I would have felt better.
I won't talk about grief. Does one ever stop grieving?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
Yes. So, like, now, I've remarried. So people think, oh, she has forgotten about Yakubu. She has moved on. She doesn't, she's done with grieving.
Yeah.
And I tell people it's not like a cloth that you wear and just remove. It's not like a series that you watch and has an ending. Grief becomes a part of you once you start grieving. It just changes form and intensity, but it remains with you, because that's loss. So now I'm not even just talking about the death of a person. I'm talking about loss in general. That loss stays with you. If, as a parent, a child dies, maybe you have 3, and then one child dies, the fact that you have these 2 will never take the place of this child that is not there. Even if you give birth to another child, this child will always be your child that died, and there will always be that vacuum.
I agree
created.
with that. I remember when we lost my eldest brother. Many years later, my dad would just sit down and call out his name. And you could feel the pain.
Yeah.
There were other 5 children, but he would call, and that was his first child. He would call out his name, and he's in pain. So I think I agree with you that you never really stop grieving.
You never stop grieving.
Yes, but you live your life, but the vacuum or the place that person occupied in your life is still there. So while you were busy writing, love came knocking. You said it earlier. Love came knocking. You now moved from Matan Yaks.
Yes.
That's Yaks' wife to Mrs. O. Tell us how it happened.
Which parts? Okay, so let me go back to the beginning.
Okay.
Yakubu died in November 2018. And then February 2019, I went to Jos to see my very good cousin, and all that. And she had this book, But What Do I Know? Written by Sam Obafemi. And I had seen the book, and the title was what attracted me. Like, oh, well, what do I know? I like this title. It looks like something I would want to, just find out what's in it. So when I saw her, I was like, I've been seeing this book, and I would want to read this book. And then she said, the author even, he autographed it. She told me that he's her husband's coursemate or schoolmate. So her husband got it for her and he autographed it. And I told her, I said, then I followed him immediately on Instagram, I think. And then I found out he was in Abuja. I was like, don't worry, when I go back to Abuja, I'm going to go get my copy. So immediately I came back, I ordered for my copy. And then I get this message, oh, you're in luck. Today we're doing free delivery. Send your address, we'll bring yours. And then they brought it to my house. I didn't meet him then. His staff gave me the book. You know, I rushed to read the book and I opened it and I was reading it, and some pages into it, I realized some of the pages were coming off. I'm a book somebody. I don't fold pages. I don't. All my books have page markers. All my books that I publish, they have page markers. You know, I don't put books upside down and all that. Yes. So I reached out again. I was like, oh, this is what happened. And, you know, it just like downed the experience for me. And he was like, oh, we're so sorry. We'll replace it. So they brought a new copy and I wanted to return the old one. I said, no, you can keep both. Yeah. So, and then when I opened the first page of the first book that they sent to me, then I saw the date. It was autographed. It was the day Yakubu died. So it was 10th of November, 2018. But I got this book in February 2019. So I was looking at this book. I was like, And then the message was, life is not a straight line. Live it anyway. I said, hey, God, not like this, they send message. You know, so I reached him and I was like, wow. Then he was like, oh, is there anything wrong with the book again? I said, no, there's nothing wrong. It's just that this date is significant to me. And I told him my story. And he was like, oh, so sorry. Is this bringing up memories? He can, you know, retrieve it. And I said, no, I'm happy that this just came out of the blues. I did not know you from Adam. And then this is the message I'm getting from you with the date that my late husband died. And long story short, so there was a course on emotional intelligence and anger management. So at that time, I was still trying to navigate being a single parent and having to take care of the children, bills, stress, and all that. And I realized I was an angry parent. I realized that I was short-fused with the children. I'll come back from work and somebody say, oh, they said you should bring Marcel. My trouser is torn. And I would flare up. And I noticed the children withdrawing. And I didn't know what to do about it. I didn't know. So when I saw that, he now told me, he said, that he's led to offer me a scholarship to the anger management and emotional intelligence course. And I told him, I said, I need anger management too. That one, I know I need it. I've been hearing emotional intelligence. Okay, but I need the anger management for myself. So I got a scholarship for it was a certification course, and I attended it. That was the first time I met him. That was in May. And we became friends from then. You know, he'll check in, ask about the children and all that. Yeah, I know.
I'll just take a little break. I'll just take a short break. And when we come, we'll talk about that. Please, still don't go away. Dorathy is really getting me very excited here. We'll be right back after this break. You know, so I just want us to continue from where we stopped earlier before we went on that break, when you said you had to take the emotional intelligence and anger management course. Let's pick it up from there.
Yeah, so I attended the course. It helped me a lot. I was able to better manage my emotions with the children and find a way of pulling them closer instead of pushing them away. It wasn't their fault that died, you know, and all that. And then over the years, you know, we became close. I got to know more about him, and the rest is history.
Like you said. Did you ever think that you're going to remarry? Should I won't say very soon, but you know, did you ever think you're going to marry?
So I did not, honestly. I didn't think I would remarry, but then I didn't think I would not. I was just open to it.
So, I've noticed that most women find it hard to move forward. Move forward, especially when their spouses have passed. Why move forward to another relationship? Let me use the word, enjoy your life again.
Yeah.
What do you think is responsible for the men move faster?
Yeah.
Forward faster. What do you think is responsible for that?
So I think especially in this part of the world, culture. Culture is the number one thing that is responsible for it, because we get judged. People just feel that, oh, you're just going into it because you just want to, like so people just feel like, I heard people told me, why do you want to remarry? You have your children, they're your whole life. Why do you want to go to another man's house? Just stay and take care of your children. And this was 6 years after, And so for some people, and then I also asked, what if it was the other way around? They say, oh no, he's going to need a woman to take care of the children.
I don't know why
He can't stay alone. So even when he doesn't have children, he's sure going to need a woman. There is the need of a woman if it's the other way, So culture plays a major part in widows not moving forward because they get judged. They get, like, people just, label them like, maybe you're just loose. You hold yourself and take care of your children. But then another thing I say is that it's not everybody's path to remarry.
Okay.
But you can decide to live your life. Some widows actually stop living. They stop attending functions, they stop looking good, they stop everything that used to ignite, that fire in them that would make them even live long, they quench it. And so they just stop living. They're alive, but they stop living.
What would you say to such women?
So to such women, usually I just tell them that God created you as you, unique in your own time. Yes, your spouse died, your husband died, but he did not create the two of you together. He had his own purpose, his own timeline, his own date of being called home. So one of the things I told people, I said, the way I was close with Yakubu, that I did not die that day, God still has a reason for me. That because I was the one that found him. That you people did not come to see me beside him.
Yeah.
Then God is telling me, your work is not finished. I still have work for you. So I tell women that it's one of the most painful and loneliest experiences for you to lose your partner, your husband. But then again, you're alive for a reason. Live. Living doesn't mean, okay, I have to be partying or just be out there, but just, you have that conviction, that decision that this thing will not drown me.
Yeah.
This experience will not kill me, will not drown me. I want to live. So I tell women that it's a decision. You have to choose to live again. So you might be alive and choose not to live again.
But you can actually be
You
alive.
can be alive, yes, and choose to live again.
Thank you so much, Dorathy, for coming. All right, don't go away. Heart to Heart will still continue.
Hi, my name is Joshua, and my treasure scripture for today is taken from Proverbs 3:5-6, which says, "Trust in the Lord with all thy heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths." In my life journey, I've made decisions that were just me. It's obvious God was not in the picture. And some of them were successful, but the peace was not there. But just learning to trust God through the process and even committing some of these decisions to him has changed a lot of things for me. And now I experience peace and clarity. And I know now that God can be trusted through his promises. That's my treasure scripture for today. What is yours?
When we go through pain or loss, it is so hard to see whatever good or beauty that may come out of that experience. And it is okay. I believe God understands that we are human when we go through those moments of our lives. Who would have thought that God had something up his sleeves for Dorathy? I am so happy for her finding love again after loss. And that same God can do for you if you will let him in, if you will trust him with your pain today. He will fill your heart with joy and you too can find love again.
Dorothy's testimony is a reminder that God knows just what we need per time. Are you grieving the loss of a loved one or grieving a lost relationship that meant so much to you? God can turn around for you into something better. If you will trust him with all that concerns you today, he would fill your heart with joy that no man can give. If you were encouraged by what Dorathy shared today, please reach out to us using the details showing on your screen, and we would love to connect with you beyond the screen. You too can experience a change in your story.
If you have been blessed by today's episode, please do us a favor. Contact us using these details, telling us what stood out to you during the interview. We'd love to hear your story. To watch more episodes of Heart to Heart and other programs produced by the Christian Broadcasting Network Africa, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media so you don't miss out on what's happening.
That's all we have for you today on the program. We hope Dorothy's testimony has sparked something in your heart. Please join us same time next time for another inspiring episode of Heart to Heart. From all of us here, see you next time.